This podcast is produced by Passion Nerdly in association with the Nerds Domain and our parent network, the Southgate Media Group. This podcast could not exist without their support or from support by Patreons like you. For more information on how you can get involved, visit passionnerdly.com.
I remember stories from when I was younger. Tales of when the Empire grew vengeful and hunted the clans to the point of extinction. There were masters of deception, spies without equal, warriors of extraordinary ability. This is the legend of a brave few who fought to change the course of history and end the time of woe and terror. Our story begins at the Wooden Dojo.
So hi and welcome back to the Wooden Dojo. This is John and I'm here with our table and we are going to really briefly recap on events from last game. Our group of ninjas introduced themselves and saved some prisoners who had been taken captive at a bandits camp. It was a fairly quick combat, but it gave everybody an opportunity to introduce their characters to you, the listeners, and to each other. So now we are continuing. They had gone into the forest nearby. It's a large aspen forest near the fortress city of Nanchao. They had found an enclave or a little area where they could safely make camp and had used it off and on throughout the time in this area.
A clearing, would you say?
I would say a clearing. A few uprooted trees and a nice area that was not easily visible for people who might be on patrol through the area. And as you approached your camp, everybody smelled the familiar smell of cooking, and the dishes being used or prepared using the local herbs and other things. Most people here at the table knew that it was a member of their party known as Rin. And Rin was obviously doing what they do when they return, and cooking. Rin is another member of this ninja group here in the forests, but oftentimes spends much of their time in disguise in the fortress city of Nanchao. They arrive there at the campfire, likely a little bit hungry, but now additionally wary, because Rin is not alone. In fact, there is somebody sitting there at the campfire who is in somewhat nice garb, possibly official. But let's go ahead and introduce this new character. Roxy, would like to tell us about your character, what they might be doing?
Is the food done? Because she's probably eating.
Yeah.
Okay, then she's eating. Sat on a fallen log or something, and she is of, above average height, not too tall, but definitely not short by any means, and she is in what seems to be probably kind of official-looking garb. Probably a little concerning to some, because it does look like it may have been provided like standard issue from the Empire. I have a rifle on that is with me. I don't know if I have it on a strap on my... I don't think I wear it on my back, but I carry it with me all the time. And I have an empirical, one of the soldier hats that they wear, the little conical sort with the point on the top.
Yeah, the kind of the bamboo hats that are...
Yeah, well, these look metal in the in the artwork. I can show you here.
It's basically a metal version of a coolie hat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
This number here.
Mm-hmm.
But that I probably am not actively wearing. I usually keep it kind of over my neck. I kind of let it hang behind me. I have long, probably past my shoulder length black hair. I do wear glasses. Kind of angular face. Not too lean. Don't look like I've probably done a whole lot of fighting. I kind of look more like a brain more keen-eyed, I guess, than maybe brawny or anything like that. I am wearing some measure of armor, again, standard issue Empire stuff, and I am eating quietly. Not a big talker, so I'm not making conversation with the cook.
Rin, of course, one of the unusual things that your character would have seen with Rin is that they are dressed in a white kimono, very well kept, very well fit, very much out of place in the forest. You would think that this would be something that would get dirty or messed up or at least have some stains to it or something else, but it looks almost perfect. There's this strangeness to that in and of itself. Rin's features are somewhat effeminate, but at the same time, perhaps even you would say androgynous to them.
Are they male or female, or do they not say?
They don't say.
Okay.
But Rin just, has hummed to themselves while cooking and just mentioned weird things while you've been sitting there, just talking about everything from, I managed to find this rabbit the other day in a nice clearing not too far from here. There was some lovely lavender and this very, very talkative. It almost treats you as if they've known you their entire life. And obviously the group all arrives there, and Rin stops and is like, "Oh, they're all here. These are my friends I was telling you about. Hello, everyone. Allow me to introduce you to... I'm sorry, I forgot. What was your name again?"
I am Hayakawa Akemi.
Hayakawa Akemi. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I was very rude of me not to introduce myself. Everyone, please introduce yourselves.
I think Kentaro doesn't really say anything, but he looks like he's walking directly towards the newcomer. And then he kind of jostles between the newcomer and the campfire as he goes to the food. Like, sorry, excuse me.
I just move over a little bit. Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Okay. I would like to walk up and sit next to the newcomer and say, it's funny. I was just saying that we could use someone from the Empire around here. There's lots of ruffians in these woods, and someone from the Empire should figure this out. So, hi, I'm Kinnojo. It's nice to meet you. And I like to make an intuition empathy check to see who this person is and
is
what.
This contested, or is this...
At this point, it depends on you. Are you really trying to hide anything about yourself?
Not actively, no.
All right, then we're going to say standard difficulty, so 2.
1. I have 1
Ooh.
Success.
They seem a little bit guarded.
A little stone-faced, yeah. A little squinty-eyed.
Or are they just very much enjoying their food?
Right,
I'm
so
hungry.
I'm
Leave
just
me
gonna look at you for a couple of seconds and then reach for a bowl myself. And
Yeah.
then just,
Kentaro looks like Kinnojo and is kind of like, I don't really remember you saying that the other day. Was that yesterday or the day before?
it might have been the day before yesterday.
The day before the day before. The
Yes.
day before.
One of those befores. It's in there somewhere, I think.
There are many befores. And
I just watched this conversation and eat.
So, strange story. I was out at the river checking the traps. And, of course, this is the season where we can get ourselves some wonderful salmon swimming upriver. And while I was there, I came across this individual. And it was very odd to see somebody out here. It's not common. And they said they were looking for an individual. I said, well, who? They said somebody that's in this area. And I was like, we're in this area. And
I don't think I would have followed you if you talked like this all the time. But then, like,
but I offered them food.
Yeah. I would stop. I would stop you. I would stop the conversation because it would drive me nuts. And I would say, I am looking for someone of the Arima family. Is that you guys? Is somebody here, or is that have they completely misled me? I mean, the food is acceptable.
Suddenly, Makoto gets a little twitchy. Like,
I have a message from another Arima family member, but I am not going to share it with anyone unless I can be quite convinced.
Makoto kind of.
But believe me, I know this looks very odd, and that the Empire, which is where I'm coming from, and I understand that, and I kept the clothes because they're nice, and I needed some when I left. But I assure you, I have been sent to find you by Abe and June.
No, not at all. Not at all odd to have someone from the Empire coming looking for someone and knowing some names that are significant. It's not at all. It's fine. Continue eating.
Like I said, very odd thing.
Where did you find this person?
By the river.
I was sent to find a group of ninja that had been sent to Nanchao to help escape prisoners by Hajime Abe. And it's a long story, and I don't wish to get into all of it. I'm here to deliver a message. I was also told that my personal goals may align with yours for the time being. And here we are.
I quite like stories if you want to tell it. Just saying. As I continue to eat my soup at your shoulder.
Sanosuke takes a seat around the circle too, and is like, yes, well, why don't you go ahead and tell us what those goals of yours are?
Okay.
Makoto.
Am I with the right group? That's all I need to know. Ren seems to think that I am, but if I seek another group of ninja, I really need to move on.
Makoto sits down nervously and grabs a ladle full of soup from the fire.
Question over the table. Are bamboo herbalists, could I tell that by sight? Would I be able to know potentially by a weapon or garb or something, a token?
Let me ask you this instead. Is there a family resemblance between you and your aunt?
Yes.
Okay. So there is that chance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Also, I will say you got to step up soon because I'm just itching to lie and
I
say
know,
that I'm from the Arima
she's
family.
waiting to see how much information comes out before she reveals
Maybe
herself.
you could tell us what this person looked like, or this what was the name? Abe? What does he look like?
He is a very tall, rather handsome, bald man at the wooden dojo. I don't know a lot. Okay. I know what this looks like. I know what it sounds like, and I understand your hesitation to trust me, and quite frankly, I am hesitant to just fall in and trust all of you.
Do you fancy Abe?
I wouldn't say fancy. I appreciate a handsome person.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
So I mean, this was the only time I've ever met him. It's growing up in the Empire, we are told any number of horror stories about ninja and how awful ninja are. And the things that they have done.
The reverse could be said for the Empire.
I didn't get there yet. I mean, I don't have to tell my story, but I'm just saying, it was surprising when I met this ninja, and so I think that changed some things. But anyhow, I'm not a soldier. I promise. I received some information that I really don't think I owe anyone at this moment, but it made me question a lot of my upbringing as far as the Empire is concerned, and my trade, which I am an engineer for the Empire, or I technically still am, but clearly not there right now doing anything. But I came looking for answers regarding this information that I received, and I was looking for more information. And do you want to roll something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I want to see if I can maybe roll perception for body language.
Okay.
And empathy to see if she's being truthful with what she's saying.
Okay. Do you want to pose this, or do you just want to go based off normal difficulty? Are you
I'll
trying to hide anything?
go off. I'm trying to be
Okay.
honest without, like I said, there's information that I don't feel is pertinent right now.
So 2 successes required.
And she got it, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Holy
5.
moly.
All right, so you also get a boost off that if you want to use it for anything, or we can turn it into another karma.
I'll turn it into a karma pool.
There we go.
But so
What am I seeing? How is she reacting? As she's speaking?
I think she's being very truthful. The only thing that she is again keeping to herself is perhaps the details of the information that she doesn't feel need to be shared.
Is she fidgety or is she level?
I mean, she is very. I'm never going to call her like charismatic or anything. But no, she's just. This is information. Okay. She is very science-minded, and these are the facts that are need to know at this point in time. And so,
that she's not overtly trying to hide anything.
No,
she's
not
just
at all. She's trying to be honest, and she understands. I think Akemi is very aware of the possible conflict between her background and your background, and where she is. And so, as far as Akemi is concerned, you all could like try to kill her. She doesn't think you could, but she thinks you would definitely try. But no. So I received information. I left my studies. I currently have.
Okay. She like.
Oh, that's sweet.
She's like, all right. Would you like a refill of your soup?
Actually, this was my second bowl. I am doing quite well, thank you.
Okay.
I would like a drink. Do we have beverages here? My canteen is empty.
Sanosuke pulls out a little bottle.
I smell it first. Is it water or is it?
A little
sake.
something.
Ah. What was your name again, sir?
I'm Sanosuke.
Sanosuke. Sanosuke.
That's quite good.
I will take a sip of your sake. Thank you graciously, and return it to you.
Okay.
So
He takes a swig and then passes it over.
Yo, Kinnojo, I'll take one.
So shall I continue, or would the family member that I'm here to find? And I'm looking at you because if you do resemble her, I'm pretty sure I'm in the right place. But I'm like, come on, I have given my name. You can give, and I'm not. I'm the one with the message. So
you're in the right place.
Okay. And who wants the message?
She sits down next to you and puts her bowl down, and she says, Makoto Arima.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I met your aunt at the Wooden Dojo, and we can get into the specifics of that later. I have not looked at this. This is, I assume, a sealed. I'm treating it as a sealed message.
Is this before or after the last incident?
This would have been after.
Okay.
But we wouldn't know anything about what had happened.
Not yet.
This
We
is
don't know
Okay.
any of that.
I just wanted to know for
role play purposes.
Yes.
Feel free to read it out, because our listeners obviously will not know what's on the paper.
That's true.
Dearest Makoto, I send this message to convey a mission of the utmost importance. You must take Rin to the capital Daiwa. They must impersonate Sakamoto Iko, a possible future ally. She has been poisoned, either by an ally of her own or a member of her household, and her disappearance would raise too many questions. Investigate if it was a member of the staff at her home. Seek out Arada Kazumi at Arada Rikens as soon as you have not heard from them in some time. Pardon my brevity, but this mission is the highest importance. Jin.
Over the table, GM.
Yes.
Would I have been given any verbal information regarding the events that transpired?
Your character would be aware of the events that transpired.
Okay.
You would have meeting Jun. You would actually be at the camp and have seen Eiko. Basically, Jun appears to have been dedicating herself to saving Eiko from whatever this poison is, working tirelessly to save her life.
Okay. And so I would be able to tell them that if, I guess even above the table, I mean maybe that you guys would know the family name, but that would be the empress's or the princess's cousin that has been poisoned.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember. That kind of
So the lady that we saved in the first campaign
In the Seriously Let's Play campaign.
Yes.
has been poisoned, or
Well,
a relative of hers?
she was poisoned
Yes.
at that thing.
To relay the story now, as events are being pulled together, the characters in our previous campaign, you all had gone to this meeting and overseen it. And there were several people there, all meeting clandestinely with what turned out to be the purpose of dethroning the Emperor. The meeting was being led by Sakamoto Eiko, and this is something your character would know at this point.
Right.
So one of the things is, and this is something your group did not know, this group here at the table, during the escape, when you made it to the boat and left the shore, she would have fallen ill. And it would become obvious that she had been poisoned. The question is, at this point, how long ago was she poisoned and who did it? Is it possible? There are all sorts of questions that your characters are going to have in your mind, and you as players obviously do too, because these are events that until this moment you were unaware of.
Can I make a roll to see if I know who Sakamoto Eiko is?
Yes.
And how significant that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think knowledge and intuition. Or
Yeah,
something.
that'd be great.
1 success. Seems to be the story of tonight for me.
Your knowledge intuition is not
You've heard the name in passing, and you know that the person is a noble that lives in the capital.
Okay.
We'll go with that. That's
I'll take
definitely simple information.
would our historian know?
Possible.
I have 4 knowledge, but no intuition. Is knowledge intuition?
You can go for knowledge, and depending on how you describe it, you could go for perception if you think you might have a story dealing with her, or things along that nature, or discipline if you're trying to concentrate and see you remember some far back story from when you were before you joined the ninjas, possibly from a noble family that you heard of.
I'll try perception, but to ask, is this person a warrior? Because
No.
my studies center around warriors.
Okay. Not
Oh,
really,
okay,
no.
yeah, no.
Okay.
Sakamoto Eiko. Oh, well, that's nice, though.
Well, I have 3 successes.
3 successes. You have heard the name. There was in something that you remember. There was a warrior who had dedicated victories in combat to a noble woman of refined beauty, and basically written sonnets about her while he was out, defending the empire. And you would know that this was significant because this woman was the cousin to the late empress.
I believe there are some not so old songs around this individual. This individual that is has relations with the empress. Is related to the empress. I mean, two different things. That's what I meant.
That's my understanding is it is the princess's cousin that we are currently, and there was a big to-do, and there were some ninja there, including your aunt and her group, who I believe were also sent out of the wooden dojo, which is why she was there. But yeah, yes, and
I remember when she left, but we haven't heard anything since.
Well, there was the army arrived, and it didn't go well.
Rin comes over and joins all of you at the circle. They sit down on the log across from all of you. They've changed their appearance, and in fact, facially is recognizable as Hajime Abe, but instead of being bald, has turned the ladle upside down, and the cup is on top of their head, covering it, so that from here up is silver, instead of the flesh color but sits down at the fire with all of you, looking around, says, "And so, what you're telling me is that I must undertake a very dangerous mission."
You don't look nearly as good as Hajime Abe. Just saying.
But I like the ladle. It's a nice touch.
I mean, he is bald.
We should tell Abe about that he looks good in a ladle.
Please don't.
It would make for a funny story.
That is true.
But yes, so that is. Oh,
yes, that's what it appears to be.
This is very dangerous.
yeah. So you do this. My understanding is you do this all the time.
Exactly how are we supposed to make it into the capital, though? I mean, this is super well guarded.
You are to impersonate the princess's cousin and take her place.
So
You.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously me.
Get
I wouldn't
the
expect you
rest
to
of
do
us
it.
in.
Oh, I thought I was going to do it. Yes, of course, Rin.
Yeah. Yes, the sarcastic one is accurate.
So you're coming
What-
with us, so.
Yes, I didn't get to that part of my story before the letter.
Why
Oh.
are you also interested in this? What would have you align with us?
When I have a friend that I look up to named Takeshi Aiko. And she is a former ninja that also did some work for the Empire. But now she is aligned with no one. She is her own, and she travels the country looking to essentially right the wrongs of both groups. She, as you know, we can tell horror stories about the Empire. I have seen many atrocities in my travels since I left that definitely have changed my opinions about many things that I was taught about the Empire from my teachers and instructors. And there are also things that some ninja have done that are not great.
Sure. You got to watch out for those recoiling serpent guys.
I've heard tell that they are something to be dealt with. But
Seem to know a lot about ninja. Have you
well,
done this kind of work
am
before?
a scholar. I'm sorry. What did you ask?
Oh, you're a scholar. Where did you study?
I studied at the Empirical Academy of Knowing Things. Just a second, let me...
I have heard of that. It is a very well.
It is a well-respected location.
Very aptly named.
Yes. Very literal language that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was an engineer. I dug trenches when I had to do my actual service, but since then I have been more studying things. As you can see, I carry a firearm. I like mechanical things more than necessarily hand-to-hand combat. I like to know how things work and to build things. But
have you made anything aside from firearms?
I have made traps and explosives.
You seem to have a particular focus.
It was the Empire, was it not? But I have not free reign, but I am allowed to roam in search of resources. The Empire assumes I'm doing this for them. I let them believe that. Because it gives me... I essentially can go where I please, and which that could also help you all get into the Empire.
I think so.
Yeah, you know, so
between me and you,
we can at least get 3 people in. I don't know, but
Well,
yes,
I
we should
think,
be able to do it.
I
But
think Sakamoto could have a retinue of sorts, and we could all feasibly fit in that. I mean, she's
bodyguards,
an important
escorts,
noble.
yeah.
And
Entourage.
an escort of 5 or 6 people it should be no problem.
I mean, as long as you
Absolutely.
don't look super ninja-y. I mean, we may have to cover up some tattoos and stuff. The Empire is not really known for too much of that.
And conceal our weapons as well.
I think we can make this work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think though at this point we also obviously need to make haste to the capital. Then
Tomorrow.
good.
Some rest sounds great after
Yeah, I'd been
earlier
traveling.
escapade.
I'd been traveling a while before I was happened upon by this person.
Oh, there's Rin stands up and walks over to Sanosuke and licks the edge of their kimono. Is this like you have a little blood on you still? And is trying to wipe the blood off your face, which of course is a rather funny image as you're watching basically Hajime Abe mother over Sanosuke. So
Every moment, my mild adoration of Hajime Abe is slowly fading with this corrupted, defiled.
Ladled.
Sanosuke just looks at Rin like, well, that's Rin, and takes another drink.
And I say, okay, so we've seen your Abe. Let's see the Sakamoto lady. What does she look like? You know? Is that going to be an important detail that we don't have?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. Theater-wise and everything else, I have a very extensive background, and her name is not unknown to me. In fact, it's one of those things that it's kind of a whispered story that she looked a lot like the late Empress. And so, if I base it around that concept, I should be able to come up with something really close.
Great. That sounds
That's what we have to do.
sounds like as good as we're gonna get.
When the Empress died, there were posters everywhere. So many artistic works. There was a statue. There were canvases. Oh my goodness! I have plenty to work from.
Great. Let's hope it works.
Well, you could just change your form. It'll tell you if it's hotter or colder until we get to the right.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so obviously at this point the characters eat. Are y'all going to be eating in silence, or are they going to be doing anything this evening before tomorrow when we begin to travel?
I will be just making sure my firearm is in working order and preparing my travel rations or whatever. Because I've been traveling alone.
Replacing the shuriken tattoos.
Okay.
Do you have to
And
re-tattoo
sword
them?
as well.
Do you have to re-tattoo them when you use them?
it's a mystical type process. It's not like you sit down with a tattoo pen or something.
I was like, dang, that's
And
kinda-
so is it an actual physical shuriken that becomes a part of you?
Yes.
Wow. So that would be something probably. Are you doing this out in the open, or are you trying to hide this?
Well,
Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
am-
be like hiding it from the group or anything, but
if I saw anything remotely resembling you absorbing a shuriken, I would be fascinated, and that would be I would be. I need to learn what you're doing. What is that? How does that even happen?
Here. While he's doing that, here, let me. Who's got something cool? Anybody like a
this
flower
is a good trick.
or
This is a good trick.
or whatever? Anybody?
Show
So
off.
I'm gonna unwrap my arm, and you see on my arm about 6 inches long is a sai, the 3-pointed dagger thing, and I say, okay, so well, I mean, you know, here we go. So I'm gonna just slap my arm and take the sai out, and so it just becomes a full-on like foot-long sai in my hand.
See, I'm like, this is what. Oh, no wonder people are scared of ninja. That they can do things like this.
Kentaro looks at Sanosuke. And he's like, the size seems to be bigger than your shuriken. Do you have anything that compares?
you remember the sword that I was using?
Remind
earlier?
me.
And he takes his sword and holds it to his back and starts to do the meditations with it and starts to absorb the sword. The entire katana is absorbed into his back.
Kentaro looks like Kinnojo.
And it looks like
kind
now
of gives
a
him like a
tattoo
smiling shrug,
across
like,
his back.
Wow.
I mean, I could do more, but well, here, and I unwrap the other arm, and there's another side, and I take that one out. See, I got two, and so I put both of those down, and here, let me, and I pick a flower off the ground, and I just go, and I just, over the course of a couple minutes, just to sort of absorb it into like my upper arm, and it just becomes this tattoo, a perfect replica of the flower. So, see.
I like the flower tattoo better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll do those too. So I just take my side and rest them against my forearms and reabsorb them. Yeah. So that's what we got.
How bizarre.
And I can do other stuff.
I just
but,
choose to carry mine. My gun just.
See, that was the ninja version of a pissing contest, just in case you didn't know.
No, we have those in the Empire. They usually end with more blood and somebody losing rank, but
Well,
That
all the
doesn't sound
same.
very fun.
no.
It's not. I was glad to get out of digging trenches as soon as I could.
I think for the rest of the night, Kentaro probably, like, whether you answer or not, Kentaro probably asks you a lot of questions, like how long were you in Empire, where are you from, who's your family, and if you don't stop him, he probably also writes it down.
Oh, that's fine. It can be written. I mean, the worst that could happen is someone finds it and they come after me. But what else? I'd be like, what else could they take? So
Yeah. Onishi is on like her third bowl of soup. And just putting away,
that one
just kind
needs
of
a lot
watching
for
what's
a
going
small,
on.
for how small she is.
I'm
Yeah,
hungry, okay?
we don't know where she puts it, but
Is that
Yeah.
is that your ability? Do you just absorb food?
It's one of my many talents.
Oh, there you go.
Mhm.
Mini,
Mm.
like mini. Mini.
She just kind of scowls at you a little bit, like,
Okay.
you're,
I'm not a comedian. I'm
you're
a
an
nerd.
engineer, that's for sure. And I just
Yeah, you're
kind
not
of
funny at all.
As everyone's finishing up their meal, Makoto kind of goes around the outskirts of the camp and kind of takes stock of any herbs and things of that nature that she would want to refresh in her medicinal bag to take for the trip.
Okay. And so you're talking to her, looking for medicine. Anything in specific?
I don't have anything specific to do. Hey, Taya, would you be interested in any sort of tattoo? I just, I'm I've got free time, you know. Just anything you like.
I just kind of give you a side eye as I, set my bowl down. I start to stretch. I'm like, us performers do not want to be marked by those things.
No, you sure? I mean, I could paint.
And
a
she
big
just
flower on
goes
the back or any.
She just ignores you, kind of does a back bend, just stretch, and just kind of like scuttles away. Like, no thanks.
Well, maybe later.
No thanks.
In the meantime, Rin disappeared for a while and returns and is definitely wearing a more traditional feminine kimono and has begun to change parts of their appearance. Smoother skin, a little bit more makeup on the face, and very definite movements. I mean, very slowly moving, trying to piece things out. It's almost as if they are slowly taking on a role. Almost method acting is the best way to think of it. So, and this is pretty much what y'all do for the rest of the night. Of course, the sun goes down. The campfire is extinguished or kept to very low coals so that it doesn't draw attention. And the next morning, the team will wake up, and everyone will, of course, enter into the travel phase of Ninja Crusade. For our listeners, and for the first time doing this, go ahead and explain that the travel rules for this game are very different from a lot of other role-playing games. This happens in a series of vignettes, and best way I still like to describe it is as a montage. So we're going to start off with the beginning of the journey here, and that is the village section. So during this, every player will have a moment to be kind of the star of one of these vignettes. It's one player per scene who will take on a test of some sort to go ahead and progress the group through. As positive things happen, you have bonuses that will be accumulated, and if negative things happen, negative things might happen on the trip. So who would like to take the first leg of the journey with the village? For the beginning of the journey, gathering your supplies and equipment.
Like before we leave camp?
Yeah, there's the first leg of a journey is always getting things together and going. So who wants to take that portion of the test? Usually it's travel is the start, but if you can give me a good example of how you're gathering things together, we can use other skills.
I feel like I'll be best suited to if we need to talk to anybody, so I want to bow out of this one.
Okay. And, of course, Rin, as an NPC, will not be able to take one of these tests.
The only issue with me doing something like this is, as an engineer and my insatiable curiosity, I would perhaps abscond with things that I probably shouldn't. Because I will be looking for scrap metal and scrap things to tinker with. So, like, things that I would deem unnecessary for someone else to have, but necessary for my purposes, may go missing. So, I mean, and it's not my camp. I'm just here. I have all my stuff, so I wouldn't feel comfortable packing up anybody else's supplies. So
that definitely makes sense. So that leaves us with either Sanosuke, Taya, Kentaro, or Makoto. Who would like to take on that test?
No one else will. I think Kentaro will go ahead and start.
Okay.
Kentaro, I want to use travel and empathy because he's going to take time to make sure all the supplies are there.
Okay.
And there's enough bedding to be comfortable and the extra leftover soup, of course.
That I really like that. That's kind of cool. Go ahead and add an extra dice to that.
Okay. Rolling 6 dice total. I have 2 successes.
2 successes. That is enough for this portion of the journey. So, your character, it's one of the neat things with your character Kentaro is that you're very empathetic with the rest of the group. You're like, what would this person want? How should I do this? Is this enough food for me? and all these other people. And you start gathering things together and packing away and loading up different bags and whatnot. And in the end, you got to organize, like, okay, this is for them, this is for them, this is for them. Yes. Okay. Hey, guys. And you get everyone together.
I imagine Kentaro's portion is the second largest, and the first largest is probably Ichi's.
Okay.
Why you say that?
You're a growing girl. You need to eat.
Hey, watch it.
All right. So, next leg of the journey. As you leave and depart the camp, this is an interesting section of the Empire, the Middle Province. There is not that much room between here and Daiwa. You'll be there in a couple of days. But there is a river that flows southward across the Empire and out towards the Gulf. As you approach the river, there is a lot of buzzing, a lot of insects, and you're swatting them away. And you're like, at first you're like, it's got to be mosquitoes or something like that, but instead they are, of course, tiny flies. They're not stinging you per se, or it's not that itchy sensation of being stung. It's more like, they're landing on you and doing the things that flies do, swatting them away and whatnot. You pass through this one section where the forest begins to open up and onto the river. The trees are getting more and more sparse. And as you crest over the hill, you come across the river has obviously descended some, and there is a wash where bodies of execution victims from the prison have obviously accumulated here. It's just a pile of them. Some of them may have been here trapped under roots for a certain amount of time. Some of them may be fresh. But this is a moment where you need somebody who might be able to lift your spirits as you move beyond this point and start traveling north. This is a moment where there's a certain amount of a morose sense that Daiwa is perhaps the most dangerous place in the entire empire for ninjas to be heading to. Going to this location, it's almost, you don't want to think of it, but maybe it's in the back of your mind that you're marching towards your own executions. So, who here wants to try and lift the group's spirit as you continue forward?
I think Juicy might try to do that. She's the performer, is her nature after all.
Okay.
So I see her, she walks past the bodies, takes acknowledgement of them, but then also sees just kind of how everyone's face is falling as we continue to walk closer and closer to the city. So she turns around and decides to do kind of a back bend, look at me, I'm a crab, and starts to shuttle around, and then takes her fan out and just starts to do different twirls, but still trying to keep the group moving in the general direction, and also share just some different jokes, because she used to be part of this big traveling circus, and tell about the weird stories of her other performer group mates that she used to travel with.
Okay. So what skills would you like to go with from there? I can see it.
Perform in athletics.
Perform in athletics? Let's go for that. Absolutely. And I really like your description, so go ahead and add another one.
Oh, and I also have +1 to any check involving acrobatic displays, and +2 when it uses the perform skill as one of my gifts.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So how many are you rolling total?
Good question. 2, 4, 6, 8.
8.
5 successes.
Wow. You succeed. It was not enough to get you a boost. The difficulty on this was 3, because this is more than just a moderate thing. This would be something that's tough to lift people's spirits from. But you definitely succeed, and it's one of those things where everybody's hearts gets lifted. You're like in the back of everyone's mind. It's like, we've been here before. We've seen this. We've overcome so much. This doesn't surprise us. There's been worse that's been happening, but we got some hope now. Let's keep marching forward.
Yeah.
And so that gets us past the portion of the river, and we're on into the forge. You are continuing to travel. You're leaving all the forests behind and entering into more of some of the nicer farmland that surrounds the capital. There are large golden plains of various types of grains, tall stalks of it, farms with large amounts of food. And as you're traveling past one of these areas, you can see in the distance that there's like a small farm. And they've obviously set up a roadside business out there where they're cooking their own wares and, feeding travelers or other people there. You see that there are two gentlemen, or not really a good way to describe them as gentlemen. They are dressed in nice garb of the capital, and they both are carrying katanas. They are not Izzo soldiers. They are, who knows, possibly bodyguards, possibly nobles themselves. But they have a very rough appearance. They obviously are being very loud. They have knocked over, a man who has been cooking. He's on the ground, and they're harassing and, about their service and everything else. This one woman whose child is clutching her side. There's something about it where they're just like, you need to bring us what we asked for now, and you better not expect us to pay a single cent. This gets your hackles up for whoever this is in this group. This is something that would make you angry. But the question is, how are you going to deal with this scene? And so on to the next person. Who's going to take over for this portion of the journey?
I'd like to. Especially John, I wanted to point out in the last section of ours, where we saw all the bodies and all that, I think that would activate my trigger for the tormented mind, bringing back memories of the war.
Okay.
And situations like that. So I probably have been dealing with that as we're going through it. And then, of course, when Ishii came and helped us kind of lift our spirits and all that, they helped break me out of that. So that should be +1 karma to us for that trigger.
Okay, there we go.
And then
Wonderful.
that would put me in the mood to definitely go stop what's going on in this section right now.
Awesome.
So how are you going to go about this?
So normally in this area where we try to be stealthy and not be drawing attention to ourselves, seeing what's going on with these ruffians harassing someone, I'm actually in the mood to go pick a fight with them. So I'm going to be very brash and walking loudly up towards them and like, hey, who do you think you are? What are you doing treating someone like that? Have you no respect?
I'm going to go ahead and say let's go with some intimidation and possibly might. All right. And with that description, I'm definitely going to say again, +1. I love a good description.
Okay. I've got 3 successes.
3 successes. You succeed. Obviously no karma gained, but they are boosts at this point. They see you. You are striding up. Your hand is kind of resting on your katana. I mean, it's not like you're grasping it tightly, but it's like you mean business. And as you walk up, it's obvious that any kind of bravado these guys had was false. And they back down immediately. Their eyes are widening, looking at you, and kind of looking at the group past you. It's like, yeah, we don't think we could take him, and with the rest of them, if they got involved, yeah, no, they're just like, they pay the family and pay a little bit extra, and it's like, it's so long, brother. We're sorry. We'll see you around sometime. You take care and enjoy your travels, and and they basically are trying to make their way away from the group and get away. I need to be sure to go ahead and mention that as each one of these sections are happening, I need to be giving y'all's rewards for this, which I have forgotten about. So, based on the success from the start of the journey, you will get a +1 further down in the adventure should there be anything, a test or a desire for anything having to do with survival or items that you're looking for. Because you did such a great job packing, there's that chance that you might have just the thing you're looking for already on you. And you'll get a +1 to finding that on your persons amongst the group. Okay, so let's go ahead and start there. With the river and overcoming the bodies and everything else, I want to go ahead and give you an extra karma on that because it's a big deal to overcome a obstacle like that on your way. And so here we are at this scene with these gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and I want to say that you will, for the rest of the journey, if there is a martial display necessary, any person rolling, will be able to have a +1 bonus to that roll. So based upon this scene.
What is our karma pool at currently?
Currently, I think that y'all are at 10.
Is there a karma limit?
We're at 10.
You're at 10. Let me see. I don't think there is a karma limit. I don't have it here on my rules, so no, I'm going to say, at least for now, there's not. If I find otherwise, or some one of our listeners wants to write in and say, actually, there is a karma limit, they can feel free to do it. You know, I'm always up to, learning new rules. But if I don't have it right here in front of me on my GM screen, it is what it is.
I guess we should definitely feel free to spend karma.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I was going to
Yeah.
say is we need to start spending it.
Yeah.
Yep,
We're just hoarding it. All the karma.
Karma's fun. All right. So, the last leg of the journey. You've crossed out of this area where all these farms have been feeding what is essentially Daiwa, the imperial city. So you're crossing out of that, and you enter onto the main road that leads into the capital. But you enter into the road, and there is this actually a clamor of people on this major road heading towards the capital. In fact, it's kind of surprising to the entire group, even for Akemi. You're like, what in the world? There's never this kind of traffic amongst merchants or anything along these lines. Something's going on. Yeah, something is very much out of place. And so this is a question of, as you're entering into this, there are throngs of people. This could be about staying together as a group. This could be about trying to gather any information as you're traveling, or getting lost in the throngs as you head towards the capital so that you don't draw any attention from the guards. Depending on how you wish to approach this. Who wants to take this portion of the journey?
Be up for it. I think maybe what I'm thinking is, do we between us know the Sakamoto symbol? So what I'm thinking is, along the last day or so, I can sort of fix little things to give us, some symbols of that family, the crest of that family, and so we can have some made up symbols and just sort of blend in to the crowd with those, and so no one really questions us because we're part of this noble family guard.
Okay.
So I'm thinking sort of like a deception stealth, maybe.
Yeah, let's go for that. Deception stealth.
Okay.
I just find you have
Yeah.
karma still.
We'll see if I need it. The way I've been rolling, I probably will.
Do you have to declare karma before the roll?
You do have to declare karma before the roll, but at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and say that the difficulty on this is a 2, just so you know.
Okay, I'll hold off on it.
Oh, there's at least 2 there.
3.
Okay, so you do succeed. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's kind of fun as your entourage just basically walks right past groups of guard who are, scoping out the crowd, and their eyes fall on you, and their gaze just keeps on going, scanning the crowd for what the threats are. You just meander on past.
I feel like Kentaro is doing his I'm an important guard march.
Ishi is doing that right beside you.
Awesome.
She's not used to just blending in with that regard, so she's just like.
And these are official city people, right? So
Yeah. Well,
so I mean, I'm
Yeah.
in garb anyway, so they might not.
That's true.
And amongst this throng that is moving towards the crowd, there are merchants, there are commoners, there are occasional nobles, and various workers. You see the garb that you would associate with people of higher craft trades, or higher trades in general, acupuncturists, artisans. This is a really eclectic and interesting group moving into the capital. This is very odd. Everybody at this table knows that the capital, with the backlash of the emperor, over a third of the capital emptied. has emptied during the Ninja Crusade. Nobles driven out because their families were made illegal. Overall, fear. I mean, the thing that has held, at least this is what a lot of people have believed, is that what has kept the capital together, kept the nation together to some extent, is this fear. And some people, after a while, they've had enough. They leave. And especially from a noble perspective, when your leadership no longer matters, there comes a point where you're afraid for your life, and it's like, I'm either doing nothing or I'm getting executed. So seeing this mass exodus back to the capital is very intriguing. So what is happening now is the farmland has entered this throng. There's a point where you begin to see the city on the horizon of Daiwa. It is called the Harmony City, and it is a home to still, even after the exodus, 500,000 people. This is a major metropolis of, perhaps one of the largest ones in all the land. Even before you get into the city, you are entering into what is ramshackle slums. Beyond the wall of the city. The wall is huge. You can see it from a distance. It's at least 50 feet tall. But on the outskirts of this very beautiful, ornate, almost ivory wall in color, is this ramshackle huts thrown together, lean-tos of
This is
slums where this is more than likely people who have been displaced during this war. And so as you're entering into the city with all this, who wants to take the lead on this last portion of the journey?
I mean,
I will.
Okay.
The reason why is just as they're coming into the beginning edges of the city and walking in and seeing the slums, it kind of hits Makoto kind of in her heart, because that's something that her aunt did as they were traveling around when she was growing up. Going from village to village, kind of seeing what they needed, and she would help with medicine and her aunt would sell them wares. So it kind of brings a familiar memory of, I need to help some of these people as I'm going through what little bit I can do.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with empathy and possibly holistics to kind of take stock of, even if it's only a couple people, it's just enough to help kind of for her to make peace with herself as she's going through, because she would want to stop and help as many as she could, but knowing the situation, as they're trying to be as quick and, unintrusive as possible to get where they need to be.
So go ahead and let's go for that roll.
Okay.
+1 with your attributes. So what are we looking at so far? You said holistics and empathy. And how many dice we're looking at?
+1.
And I will say the difficulty on this last portion of the journey is a 3. And so if you, this might be a good time to spend a karma.
I'll go ahead and spend one.
Okay.
And karma gives you an extra dice.
Yes, it does. That's why we're using those D10s for the dice, so you can toss it in there.
So I'll have a 9 dice total.
Okay.
Wow.
Oops, hold on.
You can go ahead and
You
get it
got
up.
3 right there.
There we go.
4.
4. All right. So you more than succeed.
Good job.
There are a couple things that you pick up on your way in, and you're doing what little you can to help. The moment that probably sticks out for the most for you is that you see a man begging on the side of the road. You can see that there is a little bit of gangrene to one of his wounds. You reach into your pack and pull out a salve, and you're like, apply this, every day. Keep the wound clean, and it'll be fine. And you walk away from that feeling a little bit uplifted, and you know you did the right thing.
Yeah.
And your characters pass through this large gate in this throng and enter into the capital city of Daiwa. The sound overwhelming of voices and people. And we're going to go ahead and pause it there. And I think this is a good pausing point for the episode. Thank you all so much. And we hope you've enjoyed this episode. And we look forward to seeing you again and come on back for the next one. Thank you, guys.